Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. May Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai's peace be bestowed unto you, hopefully elect. I'm your brother Yahweh Call from the Great Millstone Orlando camp, and I saw this video by the elder brother Yashawambo from Dallas. This video that I have here on screen, as it says, he has no idea that a snare was laid for him going into the next Kai Kente or whatever this dude's name is, because as the elder was going into, as the elder was going into, and not so many words, because there's a lot of deception and trickery and sorcery and things of that nature. And as the scripture said, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, but here it is, Jake is falling for these traps. So as this thing of ours is transitioning, all right, and of course Jake not being aware, no situational awareness whatsoever, all right, not redeeming the times whatsoever. When you watch the video, of course, I would encourage you to watch the video. Very edifying, of course, as usual. But Dawadi Hawabah Shemal Shah for giving us the eyesight to see, giving us the eyes to see, man, because I mean it's evident, it's crystal clear what's going on, and again the traps that the enemy is snaring, and Jake is they don't know they are falling right into the snares. So when you watch this video, man, because the time is coming when being an Israelite is not going to be pretty. All right, as the scriptures say, refer to this truth as, in fact, I'll just grab it. Two quick ones. Don't want to ramble too much, because I really only had two precepts that come to mind, and Lord willing, this is not going to be long. But I'm going to grab two quick ones. Because again, Jake does not understand the times that we're in. All right. Yes, one thing, we find out that we are Israelites. We are sons and daughters of the Most High Power, and all that good stuff, right? The sweetness, as I'm going to grab. Bear with me. It's like I'm in the wrong book. Two quick ones. That's not it either. I have to look for this real quick. Because I know there's one in Revelation. I know that one. But if I'm not mistaken, yeah, this is it. So in Ezekiel 3, I'm going to start at 1. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest, eat this roll, and go speak unto the house of Israel. And that's what we're doing. All right, blowing the trumpet, sounding the piping the right tune at that, because there's a lot of uncertain sounds going on out there. All right. It says, so I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And like Apostle Tahar says, getting into the nastiness of the scriptures, because again, it's a lot of Israelites take this for face value, their service level, and we believe over here, start from the apostles and the bishops and the elders, because as the elder Ariella, also from Dallas, he says this truth is not for low level thinkers, and again, to quote Apostle Gabar, Jake really does not understand what they're involved in. They really don't understand what they're involved in, because it's more than just walking around wearing fringes. All right, we are coming into the bitterness. And that's why I wanted to grab these two, reading on, verse 3. And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. And he said unto me, Son of man, go get thee into the house of Israel, and speak with my words unto them. All right, so yeah, that was one. Because making the point, yes, like it was in verse 3. Verse 3 again, and he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. So again, that was the point that I was making. Again, because Jake, they just want to be stuck on the sweet aspect of this thing of ours. Again, yeah, we're the Lord's holy and chosen people and all those good things, right? But Jake, they don't want to deal with the other aspect, which we are coming into that part in this thing of ours, right? The bitterness aspect. So that's why from there I want to go to this. In Revelation 10. Revelation 10 and 9. And I went unto the angel and said unto him, Give me the little book. And he said unto me, Take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. So you see again, learning these scriptures, dissecting these scriptures, really getting into it. All right, really getting into the understanding of these scriptures. All right, which again, the Jake is stuck on the surface level. It says, and I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth as honey. It was in my mouth sweet as honey, and as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. So this is the aspect, this part of the truth that Jake they don't want to deal with. All right, they don't want to deal with the bitterness of this thing of ours, and we're getting into the bitterness of this thing of ours. All right, the bitter aspect of this truth. Because again, while Jake is chasing clout, all right, so-called chief priest, high priest, low priest, whatever he wants to be called, all right, hey, he wanted his little 15 seconds of fame. Well, he got it, and it wasn't what he thought it to be, But nevertheless, man, while Jake is chasing fame and vainglory and all these things, again, Lord willing, sooner than soon is going to be, being an Israelite is not going to be so pretty. And, that's one thing I always tell brothers, to enjoy your peace and quiet and things of that sort. All right. Enjoy it now, because, people know, whether you know it or not, we know it or not, people know, and people are watching. All right. But again, it's not going to be, being an Israelite is not going to be pretty. It's not going to be cool. And being that, again, Jig is not, they don't know what they're involved in. They're not going to be ready when it comes down to it and it's all said and done. They're not going to be ready, So watching this video, I only had 2 precepts. Because again, when you watch the video, again, if you're having an eye salve, you can see, you can see. All right, this guy, so-called Captain Tazariak, dealing with this guy. I forgot his name. He's not even important, but he's, one of those influencers, right? It's like, where do these people come from? All these influencers, where do they pop up from? But whatever the case may be, it's one of those things, right? But again, when you watch the video and certain of those questions that were being asked to so-called Captain Tazariak, it's just one of those things that makes you go, makes your eyebrows raise. And it's like, come on, dude, Like you don't see what's being done, right? Here it is. These guys talk about Great Millstone being, we're putting a stain on Israel. We're giving Israel a bad look, but things like this, it's just like, really, dude? Like, come on, man. But in Mark chapter 3, verse 1, and he entered again into the synagogue, and there was a man there which had a withered hand, and they watched him, whether he would heal him on the Sabbath day, that they might accuse him. So you see, again, being that these jakes that are on a very surface level, right? Because they were trying to accuse Yahushua because he healed on the Sabbath, right? Which again, these guys that talk about the law, but the scriptures, in roughly paraphrasing, and it goes into if your sheep falls into a ditch on the Sabbath, are you not going to matter of fact, as it says in verse 5, and he saith unto them, is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath days or to do evil, to save a life or to kill? But they held their peace. So you see, because these guys, man, they're surface level. All right, they're surface level. The same guys are talking about the law. Meanwhile, they got lineups, edges, and things of that sort, long hair, dreads, and things of that sort. But it just goes to show you they're not spiritual. That's the whole point. These guys are not spiritual, and another slander that's upon Great Millstone, especially when it comes to the apostles, man, and how they don't want to deal with debates and go back and forth with people. And people call the apostles and the bishops, call them cowards. They're running and this and that. But again, man, for one, the apostles, they've already done that. They've already done that. All right, they are that example for us. They are all that debating and all that nonsense, all that vain glory, that clout, all that shit is dead, man. All right, it's dead. There's no point in it. Because we're in a time where it's now more than ever. Every day is a day more than yesterday to be wise as serpents, harmless as doves. Wise. It's a time to be applying wisdom. All right, because again, being an Israelite is not going to be pretty. All right, it's not going to be cool. All right, people are getting ready to come after the men of the Lord's lives, and I made this point. What was that? This past Friday camp, last Friday, man. Because we know Esau's going to come down with that great wrath. All right, we know that, but Jacob's going to come after the prophets too, because the more all hell breaks loose, right? The more Yahweh Bashim Yahushua strips away the comforts from these people. Who do you think 2/3 they're going to come after? They're going to come after the men of the Lord. Why? Because we've been foretelling these things. All right, so when it actually happens, 2/3 they're going to be coming after the men of the Lord too. All right, there was a event, man, not too long ago, man. I ended up going to, or a funeral rather. I went to, and some Jake, man, he wasn't even a part of the family. He was just some hood Jake. One of my cousin's boyfriends or whatever, some shit like that. He was a boyfriend of one of my cousins or some shit like that. He wasn't even family, but nevertheless, he was invited and whatnot. Long story short, man, the Jake, man, basically, man, just now, to me, I don't know if he knew who I was. I don't know if he was watches my videos or whatever, but the Jake, I immediately knew what the deal was. All right, but by all costs, man, I was just trying to avoid the whole topic. I was trying to avoid the conversation because Jake was asking me about my religion, what do I believe in. I basically just told him, man, I'm just trying to find my way, man. I'm just trying to find my way, this and that. And that's why I said he might have, I don't know if he watches the videos, I don't know if he watches my videos. He's definitely watching somebody, all right? Because he was going into, man, I believe that he was basically trying to comfort me, trying to ease me into, opening up to him and talking about the Bible and the scriptures. Because he said, what did he say? He said, man, I believe we the people of the book. He started going into, man, us being the people of the book and this and that. And I'm just trying to, at all costs, I'm just trying to, Well, hey, like I said, I'm just like like my man's Marshawn Lynch. Hey, I'm just here so I don't get fined. you know, I'm just here so I don't get fined. I just kept saying, hey, man, I'm just trying to find my way. I'm just trying to find my way. Hey, yeah, I read the Bible, but hey, I'm just trying to find my way. So, it's asking me all these questions and this and that, but just making that point because people are watching. All right, people are watching. You know, but hey, you know, like brothers say, you know, though we're Superman, but nevertheless, until it's full blown, obviously known, because as the scriptures say, in that day the Lord is going to make it known who His men are, who He's dealing with. But until that day, hey, keep our Clark Kent mode on, man. All right, circumspect, wise as serpents, harmless as doves. Right, applying wisdom, man. Because Jake is out here sticking out like a sore thumb, making themselves a target. They are a walking target. But I just had this other example, and there's plenty of examples. What is that, Genesis 12, which Christians blaspheme and say that Abraham, he was a liar, right, for making a statement in Genesis 12. And this is what you would call wisdom, all right, applying wisdom, right? Genesis 12 and starting at verse 11. And it came to pass when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarai his wife, Behold now, I know that thou art a fair woman to look upon. Therefore it shall come to pass when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they shall say, This is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister, that it may be well with me for thy sake, and my soul shall live because of thee. So again, these fake phony Christians, they blaspheme and say that Abraham was a liar. But in fact, when you read verse 1, and now the Lord has said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee, and I will make thee a great nation. Slacky, that's not it. That's not the point. Bear with me. Bear with me. Because when you go into it, and I'll probably just quote it, but I'm going to go to Genesis 11. And I'm going to start from 23. And Serug lived after he begot Nahor 200 years and begot sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 29 years and begot Terah. And Nahor lived after he begot Terah 119 years and begot sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years and begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And these are the generations of Terah. Terah begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran begot Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity in Ur of the Chaldees. And Abram and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife, Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Ishka. But Sarai was barren, she had no children. So just making the point, matter of fact, verse 31. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot, the son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan, and they came unto Haran and dwelt there. So just making a point, all right, when you go into it, because this is something that, people in the world, they don't understand, dealing with relationships, all right, and typically, at this point in time, because there's certain things that we can do now that we can't do back then. or excuse me, there's certain things that we could do back then that we couldn't do now. All right. And how is that so? Well, Yahweh Bashim Shai being who he is. All right. He's the Most High. He can make a clean thing out of an unclean. All right. Unclean out of the clean. He can do that. That's his power. But just making the point that at one point, as far as relationship wise, all right, it pretty much Yahweh Bashim Shai, he kept it close knit within the family. All right, to keep that line pure when you go into it. So just making a point dealing with Abram and how, he applied wisdom, right? He told Sarai, he told his wife to, hey, tell him that you're my sister, because when you go into it again, he was indeed of that close family lineage, or that close of kin, right? And you can go into it. There's plenty of scriptures going into it. So many comes to mind. But just making that point that Abraham, he applied that wisdom, all right, and that's how we got to be. Keep your head down, all right. Just hey, like Yahushua said, hey, thou sayest, right? So just applying that wisdom, man. All right, because the time is going to come when. Brothers are going to be taken up before these governors and synagogues and councils and things of that nature. And Yahweh Bashim Shai is going to speak expressly through brothers, But, yeah, man, like I said, meanwhile, Jake is out here trying to stick out like a sore thumb and, you basically a walker target, man. Because, again, they don't know what they're involved in. They don't understand the seriousness of this thing of ours, and we're definitely coming into the bitterness of this thing of ours, of this truth. Jacob's not ready, because they're in it for the gimmicks. The as Apostle Gabar always says, man, Jake takes this for a joke. They think this is a game, and they're about to find out how serious this is, man. So Jake has no idea, man. But nevertheless, I don't want to make this too long. Lord willing, this is edifying. All praises to Yahweh Bashim Shai. Shalom to you, hopefully elect.